Hey guys, welcome back. MTG Moxman here, and if you're hanging out on this channel right now, it's because you want to see reserve list cards. The hottest cards this week, from March 22nd to the 29th of 2025, and we have some powerhouse cards to discuss, so don't go away. Hey guys, welcome back and thanks again for hanging out with the Moxman. We're going over the hottest selling cards on the reserve list this week, and before we get started, a reminder that if you're buying any of these cards, if you're shopping on TCG Player, don't forget it helps the channel to use my TCG Player affiliate link, gives a kickback. I really do appreciate it. Now our number 10 card this week was on the list last week. I think it was number 2, is insane. And this is Mox Diamond from Stronghold. This card's lost a little bit of ground this week, but it still locks in the number 10 position. That's 28 sales this week, or $17,600 of total sales action. Now, as a note, I want to make sure you guys understand that this is an overall value of the card if it was near mint, but a lot of the copies that sold this week were actually heavily played, and they were in the $500 range, which means that actual value I'm showing you for near mint wasn't the actual accurate telling of what we saw sold this week. And of course, this shows you that players who are buying this card really just wanted to get copies for commander decks or other playable formats at a price that they felt was affordable. Now, when we're looking at Mox Diamond, let's not forget, this thing's iconic, and it's probably going to be worth a lot more money as the years go by. A 0 casting cost artifact that makes you discard a land, but then taps for any color. It's kind of epic, and there's lots of ways of getting lands back, and sometimes you just need that speed. Now, our number 9 card this week, this is Tundra Revised Edition, and this one's a bit of a tale of a take, right? We've got a card out there locking in number 9. It had 30 sales this week. That's still $14,000. Now, Tundra itself being a white-blue card, it has a lot of strategic value to many players, and as we know, as players collect reserve list cards, as they are introduced to these higher-end valued cards, they tend to keep them in their collection. And we've seen the overall increase on reserve list higher value cards for a long time now, about a whole year. We've seen the slow uptrend in the sales. The cards that are actually selling this week are mostly lightly played. It's a little bit more of a higher value target, but it looks like players are still buying them for the reason of using them, not just collecting them. And although it has that dual purpose for many people, I can see why a lot of players are desiring to hit these reserve list cards while the prices still look more affordable than they were back in 2021. Now, our number 8 card is Grim Monolith, and that's from Urza's Legacy. This card has an average price of like $337. It had 31 sales. It barely beats out the Tundra, but that's still $10,462 of total sales action. Again, in this card's case, we are talking about lightly played copies and a couple of heavily played copies. This card right here has gone through this whole thing of infinite mana loop for a long time. Most people are well aware of where the value of this card lies in strategically placing it in certain decks, not every deck. You have to have a reason to buy this card, whereas other cards like dual lands are always in usage. So keep it in mind, it's a valuable card, and a lot of players do buy this card and hold on to it. But I often see this card showing up as a trade value card later on for actually even getting into higher pieces of Magic the Gathering memorabilia and collectible cards. We're talking like Power 9 type stuff or Power 10. Now, also let's keep in mind that this card, it's not getting reprinted though, so there's a reason to keep it as well. Our next card is Copy Artifact, and that is from Revised Edition, $128.50. This card has still seen a monthly change of plus $37. 34 sales, though, shows there is a total downtrend on buying this card. Players have been satisfied, they've bought the copies they are looking for, and now nobody's really interested in buying it as a mass market card at this price point. Players are now sitting on the sidelines and they want this card to dip. They are not willing to buy past the $150 mark. Now, of course, we've seen a weekly change of negative $21, and a lot of the copies being sold right now are heavily played. So although there's copies being sold, there's nothing pressuring the price to go higher, so it's going to settle down, which is going to drag down the whole market, which may be a very good thing for a lot of players who felt it was too high right now, but were still interested in buying that card. The reserve list is such a crazy place to be sometimes, and not everyone recognizes it until they're in the thick of it, like myself, who checks this stuff every single day. An epic card that you should own, and I still say it's worth more than 200 bucks. Now for our next card, it's Fastbond. This thing is banned, okay? Banned. But it refuses to die. We don't see this card anything other than vintage play, but or casual, of course. 38 sales this week, $1,216. This is one of those cards that players are holding on to and speculating on this thing being unbanned and some later creation of what we know as Commander. They want to see a higher level tier where every card is unbanned and just you get to play for fun. Now, of course, you can do this with Rule 0. You can do what you want, but for a lot of players, they need to see this written down. They need to see Wizards of the Coast and the Rules Committee. They need to see them recognizing these cards and saying, yes, it's okay in this format. And when and if that ever happens, you're going to see the market surge for these cards and the casual play come back. Will it ever happen is the real question. And there's lots of different opinions saying yes and no and why not. I am of the opinion that it should be unbanned. There should be a format where this can get played and players don't have to feel ashamed of trying crazy things. Now, our next card is Unfulfilled Desires from Mirage. Again, this is a card to talk about because at number 5 and 39 sales, that's only $969. It doesn't seem like a lot of value. And it's not the value of the card being $24 that I want to talk about. It's the fact it's holding its value. Understand this card is not losing $1 or $2 a month. It's actually losing pennies at a time. It is resisting the drive to go back down. The market is accepting the new price. They are aware. They recognize the buy list. And this card may be one of those cards we're wrong about. It's not going back down to $5, $10. It's going to hold on for a lot longer. And there's a lot more pressure to keep this card buoyant and in the mind's eye of value. It is a card to own. Be careful. Now, when we're talking about our next card, it's Metalworker from Urza's Destiny. A surprise to see in the top 10 this week. It isn't one I was really checking on until some emails came in noticing some market movement. 46 sales is $5,000 of total sales action, and that actually is really significant for something from this particular era of Magic card. And it is a fun card to have around, don't get me wrong. When we look at where this card has been in the past and where it's going, 250 being at 110, that's only a 50% loss of value right now, and that's actually kind of impressive. The copies selling, though, are kind of surprising. It's mostly lightly played to near mint quality copies selling on the market right now, and the thing I'm not mentioning that I'll just tell you guys here in this part of the video is there's also a big drive for people buying the World Championship editions of these cards, okay? They are being bought and sold, but they are not counted in this video for these card counts. If there's enough of them, I mention it like I'm doing right now, but very few times is there enough sales to push it onto a top 10 reserve list video. Now our next card is Academy Rector, and of course that is from Urza's Destiny as well. When I look at this card at number 3 and I see the amount of sales at 52, and you look at the overall market change of like some change there, it's not a big push, $3,562. It doesn't seem like a massive amount of money for an older reserve list card like this. But this card has value, it has legs, and it has a future. It has a future because of how enchantments are now used inside the game and the multiple formats and playability that allow for this card to have continued growth in the market. And that is something you shouldn't ignore if you own one of these cards. The $3.50 isn't a shift that is significant. It's not blowing people's minds. It's not a $90 changeover. But this constant pressure on the card and how many copies exist and how many copies are being sold and bought and traded means that this card is going to have a future of higher value. It will push past $100 at some point, and it's likely to hold it again with that same resistance factor we just talked about with Unfulfilled Desire. Its ability to die, get removed, and get you an enchantment is an insane power when we consider the power level of enchantments now as compared to the mid-90s. Now our next card. It is Replenish, and this is the exact same story with a different tale. Replenish is again Urza's Destiny. Number 2 with 63 sales, $6,910.47. If you haven't watched my videos often, I've mentioned these cards before as cards you should own and be holding on to long term, so you don't get hit with a surprise if these cards go to $400 or $500 somewhere down the road. You were in the know, not in the past tense going, I should have known. The average price at $109 doesn't seem like a massive shift again, $4.70, but because of what Replenish does, bringing all these enchantments back, bringing everything back into play at the most unexpected interval of time can just be insane. And because it's only 1 white and 3 other, it supersedes every other card Wizards has made of the same likeness. For some reason, this always reminds me of the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark just because of the lights and stuff. But returning all those enchantments from your graveyard back into play is not something you should take lightly. It's crazy. Now, our next card. Rashida Scalebane is from Mirage. This card had a buyout this week. It takes the #1 spot, 182 sales, but it's only $294. Don't get your hopes up that this card is going big. Let's explain what's going on with this card. When we take a closer look, Rashida Scalebane is a 5 casting cost 3/4. Back in the day, this was actually considered pretty good. Now, when we actually look at the value of the card, the highest it's been, the lows it's been, a monthly change of 12 cents, this is nothing, and it is because of Tarkir Dragonstorm. Somebody's speculating on what's going on with this card. When we take a look at the card, the 5 casting cost, the 3/4, it has to be in the text box. Bury target attacking or blocking dragon. Gain an amount of life equal to that dragon's power. This is a situational card. It's a sideboard at best, no more ever than $5. Keep that in mind. When we think about the reserveless market space, how many players want the cards, how many buy them, how many sell them, how many collectors, how many speculators, how many people out there even desire the cards, how many people know about these cards. It's a really interesting, fascinating area of Magic nostalgia, of history. Most of these cards, for the majority of the reserve list, are unplayable by today's standards. They can throw a wrench into a game. They can offer a unique kind of concept for a deck build that can throw people off, and I think that's part of the game, to have a good time, to enjoy yourself. Not always about winning, but just trying something crazy to see if it works. And the reserve list does offer a lot of those possibilities, comparatively speaking, to the linear deck construction we see today, these one-sided decks that do all discard or all direct damage, right? You know, back in the day you had to kind of have a diverse thing, although you could do the linear decks as well, but you could have a lot more crazy times out there with time walking and forking and all kinds of moxing. But when we look at these cards and look at the value of where they are, I want you out there, if you're watching this video, whatever, 10 minutes plus in, I want you to consider this. And it's not going to be a popular opinion. It's not going to hit everyone the right way. When you look at the reserve list cards and you see Replenish at $60, Academy Rector at $40-something, I want you to remember what these cards can do for you. Maybe not now, but later. Maybe in the immediate, maybe in the distant future. Same phrase, different tone. When you buy a card like that for $65 and you compare it against Shield with the Apocalypse or other expensive top tier standard commander cards of the same like, these cards are never coming back. And we've had a real influx of Magic players recently in the last year. They're building commander decks, they are building with these cards, and once in a while, not always, once in a while, these players discover the reserves and they go, are you serious? That's a real Magic card? These things exist? How did I not know about this? Because it was 30 years ago that they came into existence. And most stores don't carry stocks of these cards anymore. Most players don't research and look back and find some of these cards because they're always inundated with the newest sets, the newest ideas. And when you look at these cards, I'm just telling you guys, you may want to take a look again. You might want to budget to buy one once in a while if you think it's going to have the playability you need for a deck in the future. I'm not saying you're going to get rich. That'd be wrong. Although some of these cards do go up over time. I would say the market is still lower than I would expect it to be, and that could be to your advantage. I know it's been to mine. I've been able to clean up on a lot of these cards. I've been able to help patrons on my channel. I've been able to help out players on this channel because I bought some of these cards when they're super cheap, when the market's down, and then if they spike, I'm able to offer these cards at super cheap prices, the same price I paid. How many people on my channel got a Seeds of Innocence for $2 as opposed to paying $25? How many people on my channel got an Unfulfilled Desire? This card's $25, $30, $40 at one point, and they got it for $1. I know I didn't even charge you guys. I know you guys have it out there. I know I shipped it to you. I didn't bother charging you because it was too cheap to bother worrying about. But it's because I bought when the market was low. These cards come around in waves. And sometimes anticipating that wave and understanding that it's likely going to come around again means you buy some of these cards and you hold on to them and you don't worry about it again. This is why I tell people to buy a playset when they're cheap, or buy a certain card, or I make a recommendation. Because you can come out ahead in the long term by not having to stress or worry about owning it and thinking you missed out on something. Either way, it's just an opinion I have. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you hung out for a while, stayed, learned something. Maybe you have a comment or an opinion to add to my channel's content. Drop it in the comment section. Share it with us. Let us know. And of course, if you enjoyed today's content, you liked hanging out with the Mox Man, hit the like and subscribe button. It's free. I put new content every single day, and we're getting closer to that 28,000, but even closer to 30,000, which is going to be our next party. You'll all be invited. We'll have a good time. We'll see some crazy stuff. But until we get there, we're just going to keep plugging away. We're going to have a good time. Guys, I'll see you at my live stream, 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, every Sunday. Have a great one. Enjoy the day. Reserve list cards, right? It's crazy. It's a different world. It's different. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out here at the end of the video. What you're seeing right now is, of course, my patrons. The patrons who support this channel every single month, and in some cases, patrons who have been here for 5 years, since the beginning of this channel. A thank you to my YouTube membership members who probably started a year or two later. Because of these people out there who are supporting my channel, we're able to put these daily videos together, research the content, and put it all as something we can all enjoy. So thanks again, guys. Thanks for supporting. And you know what? I'll see you tomorrow with another video. Don't worry. Welcome back to the Ramble Jamble. The Ramble and the Jamble! Interesting that there are cards in today's video that I don't own. There's a couple. You'd think I own them all by now, but I don't. And I realized that some of these cards, I may have bought them as prizes for patrons, but I don't own a copy myself. And there's a couple out there, like Metalworker, I go, I'm going to buy a copy of that card. I'm going to keep an eye on that one. I added it to my list. And I said to myself, there's a couple out there that for future ideas and creative things I want to do and try some crazy things out, I might need that card. It might be something I desire. And when I realized that, I said, how many people are in that same situation? It's one of the reasons, by the way, that I started building that big stockpile of cards up there to help people out on the channel. I thought it was a good idea because I'm looking at the market every day that you guys don't have to. I think that was a good thing, a good decision. It's working out pretty well for the people who decide to use it. Again, you got to be a patron for a little while to be able to access it, but it's still pretty cool. Either way, thanks again, man. Thanks for being here. Awesome day. It's very rainy here in Toronto right now. Maybe I don't feel like I have the same level of enthusiasm I should. I feel pretty up, but I look outside and I go, oh, can we just get some sunshine? Just a little bit. Just let the ice storm go by here, and let's get on with it. Which is how I feel about Tarkir Dragonstorm. Let's get on with it. Let me get, I guess, next weekend. Okay, a note to ourselves. A note to ourselves. You're at the end of this video. You've made it this far. So here's what's going to happen. I have a pre-release next weekend. The weekend after that, which is the official release date for Tarkir Dragonstorm, I will be getting a box. We'll do a box opening. I'll have like a thing here. We'll do some stuff. And we'll have some fun with it. So don't worry. We'll all be there together. It'll be a fun video. All right. Guys, have a great one. Yeah. Ramble Jamble.